Boom! Hey, paisan! Sekai no paisan del mundo. It's koolev here. Hisashi buri. Genki desu ka? Como estas? Buongiorno. You know? It's koolev here. I've been out for a while, thinking about everything. A lot of shifts going on in the world. Things are moving and shaking as usual. So the only constant is change, as they say, right? But anyway, I'm here today to talk about a topic that's been burning in my heart in the old Kokoto for a long time. And something I heard recently just got me really passionate, which is a trait of a lot of people from around the world. If you're passionate, you speak with your hands, you speak with your voice, you speak with your body. Then you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I grew up in the Bay Area. I listen to KPFA. It's out of Berkeley. They're part of the Pacifica Network. They play Democracy Now! And all that. But I like a dude, man. A one dude show. I like many of the shows. Mitch Jeserich, Letters and Politics, okay? He's got a pretty good show. And I usually listen to it quite a bit. I don't agree with everything on there, but I get a lot of news and information and maybe get exposed to things I didn't know before. I think it was probably through Mitch's show that I first heard Alan Watts and all that. So I give big props to Mitch. But Mitch, I got some beef with you, son. You gotta stop saying some bullshit. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm trying not to cuss here, but I got the passion in my heart. He had a show on November 25th. It was titled 19th Century Eugenics Movement and its and its relation to immigration in America. Very good show. Very good conversation. Talking about basically how they banned certain immigrants from the U.S. because the U.S. wanted to maintain a certain racial stock, a certain type of people and atmosphere. And particularly this Immigration Act, which was titled the Johnson-Reed Act, kept out a majority, essentially banned Jewish, Eastern European, and especially Southern Italian, Sicilian immigrants. And why? It's based on the eugenics movement. The eugenics movement was pseudoscientific and basically said that certain people were mentally feeble-minded, prone to, criminality, radical. Infused with this was the Red Scare, because there had been a Bolshevik revolution in Russia. So they didn't want people causing problems with their political ideologies that went against rich, white, powerful people in the U.S. So what they do? Ban them for 40 years. And so my beef with Mitch Jeserich, is this. During the show, he said it over and over. He kept saying that it kept out white Europeans. White Europeans. He said it, I want to say, at least 4 or 5 times during the whole interview. So my main beef is this. If you're really white, really, really white, they're going to keep your people, your ancestors, your people out for 40 years? I don't think so. I think that's bullshit. And I also think that how ironic is it that when you're talking about eugenics, a pseudoscientific philosophy that classified people in different rankings that Hitler went on to use, then in the same breath, you're going to use one of the main things from eugenics, which is this bullshit pseudoscientific idea of race, and keep using those labels, white, black. We don't even hear red and yellow anymore, but we're going to keep using those labels. It makes no sense. It made no sense to Bob in his experience, and it makes no sense to majority of people on this planet, especially outside the U.S., that look at race and just laugh about it. Because really what you're talking about is probably melanin, the way people talk, skin tone, hair color, hair texture, and all that. And it's just bullshit. And I'm sick of it. And I expect better from a guy who touts himself as a man of letter and politics to spit some pseudoscientific trash. And he's from the deep East Bay too. I'm from Concord. I think you're from, where you from? Oakley? I don't know. Some are way out there. So I expect better of you, Mitch. Come on, man. What are you talking about? It's garbage. Why we keep repeating this? Because never in my life have I seen that classifying people into phony races. I've never seen it work to end racism. Look what's going on today. We could talk about the real results of racism without using the phony, trash, garbage, pseudoscientific labels. It hasn't worked. It's not working. It's not scientific. It goes against all the DNA. It goes against all the things we know about people originally leaving Africa and adapting to different environments. It makes no sense. It's not helping. So we keep using these dumb labels that refuse to, really look into the mixing and the complexity of who each and every one of us are. How Irish go from being not white to then being white. That makes no sense. So we're talking about classifying pale people and then say pale people have certain ways to be, act stiff, have no emotion, can't dance, can't jump, all this garbage. And on the same note, they're suddenly superior. It just makes no sense. And I expect better from people who are well-read and, interview a lot of scientists and professors and sociologists. Where is the connection of the heart and the mind to the mouth? Where is that connection at? Because I don't see it, especially from these phony lefties in the Bay Area who keep spitting the same garbage. Get with it. And you're wondering why we're having the problems that we have today. So I just want to say a few things about it. So one, we keep repeating this garbage idea of race and branding people. You're white, you're black, you're Latin, you're Latinx, you're this, you're yellow, you're Asian, you're native. And the reality is most people have a mixture. Go check your DNA. And you know what? I got a mix of results from different testing companies, so I don't even know what they're checking. But I'll say this. I know I have a majority European background, but at least 12% is not. So you cut off 12% of me, I'm not here. And so it makes no G-damn sense. It makes no goddamn sense. I just want to show a picture. This is from my family, the side of my family that comes from Molfetta in southern Italy. Most of the immigrants came to America from Italy, came from southern Italy, south of the boot, and Sicily, which was not part of Italy. And most people, when they left Italy, wasn't even a country yet. So you're talking about all these different groups from all these different places. And I just want to show this picture to give you a glimpse of what some of these people look like when they were coming over, okay? There you go, okay? Now these would be people, so the guy in the middle, that fellow with the big Abraham Lincoln beard, that's Michele De Gennaro, okay? And all these people here are family. And I feel like a lot of these people, if you really look at their faces, the hair, they could probably fit in a lot of different places. Maybe in Latin America, maybe somewhere in the Middle East, maybe in Palestine. So to sit there and to throw a dumb, pseudoscientific, racial, this is just one photo, but to sit there and to say you belong to one race is bullshit. It's when you stick people into these racial teams, what happens? So I say the race equals the team. That's the team you're on, like Dave Chappelle had that racial draft. Oh, you get so-and-so in this big comedy scene. But it has a connection to reality. Oh, you're this, you're that. You're on a team, and then that, I believe, produces racism because it leads to this race competition, and that's the game. And which team are you going to be on? And you can't, and the teams are at war. They're at war. It's all-out war. We've seen it, been going on, and you could join one team if you don't quite have all the colors. You could be an associate. You could be an ally, whatever. But it's garbage. It's all garbage. We could hate each other for different reasons. And best believe when finally all these racial bullshit terms are thrown in the dustbin, they'll find new reasons, because they always do. Look across the world in countries where they divide, again, people by lengths of their forearms, whatever. You know, it's ingenious. And there's a playbook on how to divide and conquer. But people who are supposedly educated in letters and politics, stop using these phony bullshit terms and forcing identity on people that it doesn't fit. Because I'll tell you what, going to Mount Diablo High School, growing up in Concord, I met many of people who were also Italian Samoan, Italian African American, Italian Mexican. Majority of Italian immigrants went to Latin America and mixed in. So who are they? Are they left out? Are they also white? Are the ones who, and half of the immigrants went back because they saw the program that was going on and they saw that it was whack. Or they just loved their family, they miss home, they went back. So what does that mean? Who, when you're saying, when Boots Riley in his movie said Italians have, they said something about the Italians, like, oh, they've been white since the 1960s. That's bullshit. And I call you out too, Boots Riley. That's some bullshit. And you know better than that. Fuck that. So it's junk, and I think it's really crushing us. We ain't going to have one love when we have this type of thinking. And I think when you look at what happened in the Moorish Empire, 711 to 1491 or 1492, and you look at all the extreme mixing that happened, and not all of it was negative. A lot of positivity and growth and collaboration happened all over the map, especially in Sicily and southern Italy. When you dismiss that and you say, you're white, you're throwing that all out, and it's bullshit. So fuck that. And I got another, with this Immigration Act, just go look at Wikipedia just to get a basic understanding. But a lot of things especially excluded Asian people. So when you're sticking these groups together, I'm sorry, you're not white anymore. And if you ain't white, or if you are white, I guess you're not white enough. So, and if you're not white enough, you're not white. So that's bullshit. And I'm tired of it, and a lot of people are tired of it. And a lot of junk came out of that act too. Because as a result of that act, one of the things they said happened is that Japan was outraged by it, the Asian Exclusion Act, which was within the same time period, and this same Immigration Act affected Asian people as well, was that it radicalized, because Japan saw what was going on and said, oh, okay, that's how it is, huh? And became more radicalized and pushed away from the U.S. and perhaps contributed towards the violent actions that led to World War II. So you look at it. I think it's junk. I got a lot of passion about it. And just here's some interesting quotes I found relating to this act. Prosperity of the act sought to establish a distinct American identity by preserving its ethnic homogeneity, whatever that word is. So they want to keep things the same. And you hear that now, and the same bullshit. And they keeping stock up to the highest standard. Stock. You calling people stock like a soup, or stock like your profit margin. There you go. So when you hear this junk about race, they want to keep stock a certain way. And the National Origin Act, this one was interesting. The National Origin Act basically, what did I write? Authorized the U.S. Border Patrol, which was established 2 days after the act passed. And that Border Patrol was set up along the U.S.-Mexico border. So funk that. Funk these fake borders. They bring people in when they need cheap labor. The majority of Sicilian, Southern Italian immigrants first went down to Louisiana, where the rich plantation owners wanted to put people to work after they lost their free labor, right? And they put a lot of people to work in those same fields, and those same people from Southern Italy, Sicily, got along and lived in the same communities as with people of African and mixed descent, and so when you start again to keep labeling and stick people in boxes, you further you make the problem bigger, and it's garbage and it's nonsense. And then using race as an identifier, again, it's not going to end. Like you always hear people say, well, we want to get certain resources to certain people. Well, get all the resources to all the people and stop this nonsense of splitting people up. Because how many people we got to hear that we love that I know are on your music list, on your Spotify list, Bob Marley, all these singers, these acts, these artists, talking about the pain that racism and separation has caused. And then you're going to keep doubling down and use these dumb, bigoted, idiotic, racist terms to describe the reality of people when it's just garbage. That's my piece. I'm Koolev, De Gennaro, with pizza in my pocket. Grazie for listening to me, okay? We could do way better and start recognizing the reality of who we really are and stop accepting this nonsense, especially from people who are going to proclaim that they're telling the truth about letters and politics. There you go. That's my word. Peace.